Hello, welcome to my gluten-free cooking show. Today, I'm going to be making something really special today. It is a gluten-free and vegan cheesecake. And I have done quite a lot of research about how to make this one, so I feel pretty confident that I can actually make it just how it will be. Here are my ingredients. You are seeing this right. I am going to be using a bit of sea salt in this. And in this jug here, I have some almonds and hazelnuts soaking in the water here. Got some cashew nuts here. I'll explain a bit more about them in a bit. And also here, I've got some cacao powder, as well as some cacao nibs. And also have some dates here, and also got a bit of vanilla essence here, which is like vanilla extract. You can use that. And then the next bit I'm going to be using is maple syrup here, and also got some coconut milk here. It's like coconut cream, so I'm using that. I've also have here a whole lemon. I've got all these blueberries here. And lastly, got some coconut oil. First thing I'm doing is putting this saucepan down, because with the coconut oil here, I've got to have it melted. So I'm prepping this first before I do my other ingredients. So taking the lid off, I'm gonna turn on the ring, for small ring here, but on a low heat. We don't want it on too high. And 2 tablespoons of it. So I'll scoop it out and get that should do. That's one. Scrape that off the spoon there. Now for the next one. And I think that should do for the second scoop. And now whilst that is slowly melting away, I can now get my other ingredients all sorted and prepped. With the almonds and hazelnuts here, I've soaked them together. The almonds, you have to use about half a cup of them. And the hazelnuts here, you have to use a quarter of the cup. So now I'm getting this colander here to drain out the water. So now they are all... I've just got to let that drain out a bit. So I can give it a bit of a shake around. Make sure all water's gone down into the glass bowl here. And that does seem to have got all that water. So now I will get on with my next bit. Right, I'm removing the lid of my little blender here. Making sure all my hazels and almonds... Oh, yeah, that one just went, so I'm not going to bother about that one. But making sure all these get into here. Making sure to be very careful. You don't want any spilling out. The odd one or two is alright, but not all of them, because you don't want that. That's just a few hazels, so the one on the floor doesn't really matter now. But the ones on the work surface here, which I've actually cleaned this work surface, so you don't need to worry. So I'm now adding all my nuts here into this blender here. So next, I am going to be putting in one of my other ingredients now. I think it'll be my cacao powder and cacao nibs next. I'm just checking my coconut oil here that is probably melted. And I think it just needs a little bit longer just to melt the last remaining bits in there, but I'll say it's nearly done. I'm sorting out my nuts here, make sure they're nice and salted. Now, I've got to add about 30 grams of these pitted dates here. So I'm gonna get that open. And now, 50 grams, I think, about that should be about 30 grams there. So plonk about that, because the dates give it that natural sweetness to the base that I'm doing here. So just plonking them in. Then now it'll be time for the cacao nibs and cacao powder, because interesting fact about this is, because I did a bit of research about this, it's actually an unusual nut thing, and it's kind of another style of chocolate if you want to know. I've had a look at the coconut oil now and it looks about ready, so I'm going to turn off the ring, put it over here, let it cool down for a bit whilst I get doing with the cacao powder and cacao nibs. The next thing I'm adding in this cacao nibs, which I'm going to get a spoon, making sure it's level on this spoon here, not overflowing. And yeah, also if you don't want to be doing the nuts like I've done here, you could possibly use like pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds with this instead. It's up to you what you want to use. So first, I'm going to get a spoonful of this, making sure it's nice and level. Oh, this cacao nibs has a really strong scent to it. Ooh. Sprinkle that into there. That's that one done. Next is this cacao powder here. So I'm going to do the same, making sure it's on the level of the spoon here. Now, it's got like a real chocolatey scent to this. I make sure it's level. Gotta get to make sure not too much or too little. So that is just about right. Sprinkle that into there. Now those two are done. Move the dates as well out the way. So next, I am possibly going to be adding in a bit of my melted coconut oil there. I have got a tablespoon here. I'm going to get about 2 tablespoons of this and pour it into my blender bit here. So that's one, and there goes the second. I'm going to leave some of that because I might be using some of this for when I get to doing the base of it. So just keeping it to the side there. I'll keep the spoon in there with it, so I know that is for that. So next, I'm going to be adding on this, making sure it gets on nice and tight. There we go. Now next, just give it a bit of a shakedown. Now I'll begin blending this up. I almost forgot. I've got to add another ingredient to this. I've just got to take that off for a bit, because I've got to do a pinch of sea salt into this. So you're going to make sure, yeah, that looks like a pinch there, so make sure that's just enough. Get that in. Now I can actually get this all sorted for blending now. I'm adding putting this on, turning on, and do it on a, let's do a, I'm giving it a bit of a shake whilst I'm blending this, because I want all the almonds and hazelnuts all blended up together. You don't want any that are not blended up. That looks nice and done there. So now I'm getting my non-grease paper here and plonking it into my cake dish here. So, because this will help it to not stick to it. So yeah, make sure to get every single bit out. But the interesting thing is with this, what I'm doing, this is one cake that I'm not going to be cooking. I'm actually going to be adding it into the freezer so the base will be nice and chilled for when I get to do the next bit for it. So yeah, plonking it down. Next, I should get a spatula to flatten it out. I'm making sure that this is all nice and flat and even here, because you don't want it too uneven, so you've got to make sure it's nicely spread around. So I'm trying to keep hold of the non-grease stick paper here, so it's nice spread around, so it makes a nice flat base for my cheesecake here. And yeah, most of you saying, why is he going to be putting it in the freezer? Well, doing research about this one, I didn't need to have to do any baking for it. I would just have to plonk it in the freezer so it was set that way. And then I can get using my other ingredients here to do for my base. So I could do for the top bit of my cheesecake here. So now I'm going to make sure that this is nice and spread, because it's nice and blended, all the nuts, the dates, the cacao nibs, the cacao powder, everything nicely blended. I've got to make sure it stays nice and flat around, so it makes it nice and even, and then I'll be plonking it into the freezer. In it goes into the freezer here, which I've actually sorted out to make sure it's in a nice flat spot. Now closing it and letting it set in there, so when the base is nice and set, I can then add my other ingredients here, which they will be blended next, all for the top of the base. Here are my cashew nuts, which these are about 2 cupfuls I had to do, but with these I had to soak these overnight, so they are very, very soft. So they'll be the first ones to go into the blender bit here. So making sure to get every single bit of these nice and soft cashew nuts here. Gonna make sure to get every single bit. Don't want to be wasteful with these either. Right, now that is all done. Next, I'll be doing one of my other ingredients here next. Right. Here I've got some coconut milk, which is like a coconut cream, so I'm using that. So first off, I'm gonna need to have it as a cup full. I'll make sure to put it into this cup here. So do so much, and yeah, that looks like it's about a cup full there. Calm that down, and now pour this in with my cashew nuts here, making sure every single little bit is in there. Make sure to shake off all of the coconut bit that's all dripping down. Right, I think that should do. Next, I think it is either maple syrup or the vanilla here. Now, I am going to be adding some of this maple syrup into here. Got to make sure it's so much of a cup of this. I think just about that should do for it, because it's about so much of maple syrup. It's nearly quarter of the way, but not too far to it. Right, now, as I've added my maple syrup to that, I'm going to get so much of this coconut oil here, because yeah, just a tiny bit, possibly a little bit, not too much more, because I think that wasn't enough the first one I did, so I'm just doing that tiny bit. So that is now done. Next, I believe it will be the vanilla here, and then also adding a pinch of salt, and then also I'll be doing this slice of lemon. I am getting my knife here to slice the lemon in half, because I'm going to be using this whole lemon, but I'm going to squeeze the juice out of it, to squeeze it into here. Squeeze every single bit of this lemon in here. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Right, that's one lemon all squeezed. Now it's time for my other lemon to really give this one a good squeeze. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Get all that juice out. That is done. Now it should be time for a bit of my vanilla here, and then the final bit will be this. Then the last thing, which I will have to do about 2 times for it, is this 50 grams of blueberries here. Right, now I'm doing a teaspoon of this vanilla extract, and it's about 2 teaspoons of it. So just gonna keep it over this. So gently get it onto my teaspoon here because I don't want to be gushing out. So yeah, that's 1. And here comes the next one. And that's 2. So now, the last one to do is the sea salt here. And then it'll be all blending up for the first layer of my cake here. And then after that is blended, I'll be then adding in some of my blueberries there. And a pinch of sea salt here. Plonk that in. So that is the last bit of that done. Now, getting this, twisting it on. And now, make sure to secure this on. First I've got to plug it in. And now turn on, and now begin the blending. I've got my base here out of the freezer. It's nicely set. So now I'm gonna get my first bit here on my topping bit. Unscrew the lid here. Shake off any excess bit on this blade here. And now just plonk it there. Then just carefully pour so much on top of there. Leave the rest in there. Let's scrape that excess bit back in there. And I'll see if that is actually enough for the base. If not, I can actually give well, I think it does need a tiny little bit of a top up here. That should do. And scrape it back in. Make sure to go all the way around on your base so it makes a nice starter line of this base bit here. Giving it a bit of a shake. And now it goes back into the freezer. In it goes back into here so that can set. And then I can get going with the next section of my topping, which will be adding these blueberries here, my 50 grams of blueberries, into here. So, and it is about 28 blueberries that make 50 grams. So now I'm going to get this, tie it back onto it, and you're going to make sure it's properly secure. There we go. And now it's time to see the colour change from white to a different colour. And I've got this out of the freezer, and that first layer is all done, all nicely done there. So next I'm going to be putting this next topping bit of it on to give it that next layer of it. So yeah, make sure to do like I did last time. And now just get so much of this out. Make sure to just do that, and now do like how I did before. Scrape that back in. Now, time for it to go all the way around. Gonna make sure that everywhere is spread evenly. And yeah, I think maybe a tiny bit, maybe like that. Right, now scrape back in, give it a bit of a shake around. And now this one will go back in the freezer, and I'll wait till this second layer sets before I add my final bit, where I add the rest of these 50 grams of blueberries into here, so it will change this purple colour to a darker colour. Now I'm going to get it back into the drawer here, back in, make sure it's nice and flat, don't want it to be unstable in there. Now that is all done. Now getting my other 28 blueberries here and pouring them into this. And now grabbing the blade bit here, twisting it back on again. And this is the last bit you do with the last group of blueberries you do here. Put it back into the machine, turn on, and then it will start blending again. Just giving it a bit of a shake here, sort of my own little twist on doing this. Yeah, that looks nice and shaken. I'm now leaving this here whilst the cheesecake is setting in there with the next layer. The blueberries I'm still keeping out, cause better stay tuned, because you'll see what I'll be doing with these blueberries near the end. Right, now that second layer is perfectly set. Now I'm going to pour the rest of this final layer onto it. Yeah. And now on that, let's see, it's going to come out. Oh, I have to get a spoon, this soup spoon here, and really scrape it out so I can actually get it on top. Get all of it out. And there we go, getting it all. Make sure to get every single little bit out. And let's now spread that about. So, nicely, evenly spread. And as you can see how the colour's changed in this. So it's making a nice new layer for the top. I'm gonna make sure to get it all evenly spread. Like each time you've got to make sure they are evenly spread out, so we don't want it to be uneven. So yeah, continue doing this. And now, let's see if I can do it this way now. Give it a bit of a shake, 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 shake. And now that looks nicely done there. Nice topping bit. So now I'm going to put this back into the freezer again to let this final layer get set. And then I'll be doing my unusual bit with my blueberries here on my cheesecake afterwards. So in it goes, and make sure it's nicely set in there. And now just leave that for so many minutes, and then it should be set after that, and then I can then decorate it with these blueberries here. Right, this is now all set now. Now I'm gonna gently lift the bottom layer here, really push this here, really get it out, and voila, look at that. Now for the final touches, get so many of these blueberries here, plonk them around my cheesecake here, putting them into set little spots here. So I'm making it sure it goes all the way around my cheesecake, because that makes the design look really beautiful how it ends up like it is. Right, now I'm gonna keep on going until I reach around to that blueberry over there, and I am nearly done. I just need a few more to get over there, and I think this one will be the last one, and there we have it, a blueberry cheesecake decorated with blueberries. I am now going to put this in the fridge to let it chill out for a bit, and then I'll be cutting a bit out to have a taste of it. Here we go, plonking it here into the middle shelf here, and then let that set, cool down for a bit and then hopefully it will be nice and lovely to eat, and that will be suitable for having with ice cream, yogurt, and anything else that you can think of that you want to put on it. It looks very nicely well presented now, so I'm going to be plonking it down here, getting a knife here, and I'm going to be cutting a slice of it, I think with 2 blueberries. So I'm going to make it a small piece because we don't want it too big, and I'm going to try and get it and plonk it on the plate there. And now next bit over here, and now yeah, scrape that bit onto there, and then get the rest of this. Oh, that didn't mean that to happen. That was not supposed to happen, but otherwise that is all done. I'll put that aside. Those little bits that were on my finger, they were nice. But now comes the true taste testing. I'm going to get 2 forks here, and in a bit I'll give 1 piece to my cameraman. But before I do that, I plonk that one over here and put this up here. Put this fork with that one, and this one with this one, and now sit up here. Now let's have a very good taste of it with the blueberry on top of it here. That was delicious, and can do blueberry cheesecake here, or you can do other different styles if you want to. And well, I hope you liked today's video. Please like and subscribe, and if you want to see more of my videos, press the little me somewhere down there. And if you have any comments about my cheesecake here, I am welcome to anyone who wants to discuss about this cake here. And I shall see you next time.